They blew it up. Those darned dirty geocachers. They blew it all up. Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 230 of our trip around the United States. You may recognize this location from such iconic films as Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, and the original Planet of the Apes movie. So of course, while we were here, we could not resist coming out to this iconic spot to begin our day. Over the course of the next week, we will be following the Pacific Coast Highway right along the Pacific Ocean up through San Francisco before we pass through the city and then begin to turn inland on our way out of California. Today's route is rather simple. We only have 115 miles to cover through 2 counties, Ventura and Santa Barbara, and 3 pages. Despite the fact that we have only a couple counties and a few pages and very short miles for the day, there's no way we're gonna get to our entire target list. I knew that from step 1 when I set this day aside. There's just too many interesting sights to see and too many interesting geocaches to be able to do in the time that we have on this small stretch of coast here. It's full of virtuals, full of earth caches, and full of traditionals that have a lot of favorite points. What we are going to do is manage our time as best as we can today and work our way through as many of those geocaches as we can. Very good chance we'll be cutting earth caches and some virtuals, but we will, at a minimum, be able to get our traditionals for the page and county targets. No matter what way the day turns out, once our time begins to run short, we will cut what's left of our target list and make our way into Santa Barbara to wrap things up. Looking forward to what this day on the coast has in store. So let's go see it together. Come on, let's go. Our day begins at Point Dume, overlooking the Pacific Ocean, thinking on the many movies that were filmed on or near this exact spot that we're standing now. To reach our first targets of the day, we would need to push inland just a little bit across the Santa Monica Mountains. This coastal mountain range extends about 40 miles east and west from the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles to Point Mugu in Ventura County. The roads from the coast bring you up and over the mountains or straight through them. On this California coastal mountain cruise, you can expect to pass through a series of tunnels as you climb through mountains that range from 1,000 to 3,000 feet high. Upon reaching Mugu Peak, the rugged, nearly impassable shoreline will give way to tidal lagoons and coastal sand dunes all at once. Our first major stop after the long drive through the coastal mountains is the Point Mugu Missile Park, located right outside of Point Mugu Naval Air Station. This park, located right outside of the base's perimeter fence, is easily accessible to the public with no charge for admission. As you walk through the park, you can see a wide variety of missiles and airplanes that have been tested at Point Mugu since World War II, including the F-14 Tomcat featured in Top Gun. In March of 1945, Secretary of the Navy James Forrestal proposed a Navy base at Point Mugu. Its establishment was approved by President Harry Truman in May of 1946. While the base began operations in October of 1946, it was not officially established as NAS Point Mugu until August 1st of 1949 after serious base expansions. Since that time, the base has been used extensively by all branches of the armed forces for weapon system and missile development, as well as by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. The missile testing range encompasses more than 36,000 square miles, running 225 nautical miles along the coastline from Santa Catalina Island to Pillar Point and extending southwest over the Pacific Ocean for about 180 nautical miles. This center was the hub for missile testing and development through the 1960s and still holds that distinction today. Some of the systems still under testing and evaluation include the AIM-7, the AIM-9, the AGM-12, and the CTV-N9 LARC ship-to-air guided missile system. Taking our marching orders on geocache targets directly from Point Mugu, Aichan and I launched out and began finding one geocache after another. Each time we reached the ground zero, it was a direct hit, adding our stamp to the logbook in short order. And there was very little help that any camouflage job could provide to hide the container from our log-seeking abilities. No matter how many geocaches you found, whether it's a couple hundred or a couple 100,000, there is always something new to see in this game. There is no signing or stamping the log for this geocache. Instead, you use the parking machine to enter as much of your geocaching name as you can onto your parking pass. As long as you're in this parking lot for about an hour or less, it's free to park. So all you need to do is display this ticket on your dash until you're ready to go and then use it as your official logbook signature. On occasion, the cache owner comes back and collects the parking tickets that have accumulated in the geocache. This means that by now, the cache owner of this rather unique geocache probably has a pretty hefty collection of parking tickets stacked up. Show of hands, how many out there have signed a logbook quite like that? When we reached the city of Ventura, we knew that we were fine on time with the targets that we had cut, so Ai-chan and I parked the car and decided to take a little stroll around the downtown area to check out the sights. Officially named San Buenaventura, this city is the county seat of Ventura County. In addition to the over 100,000 people that live here, this is also a popular tourist destination, due in no small part to its historic landmarks, beaches, and resorts. In any given year, this city will easily see between 2 to 3 million tourists grace its streets. And whether from the tourists or simply the unique flora, Ai-chan could not get enough of the smells here. While walking the streets, we often came across coastal plants that we had not seen the likes of before, and she immediately seized on the opportunity to put her nose in deep as she could and get all the aroma out of the plant. The area that this city stands on has been inhabited by different peoples dating back for at least 10,000 years to the Chumash Native Americans. It was given its current name back in 1782 by Juniper Serra with the arrival of the Spanish missionaries in 1782. In 1833, the Mexican Secularization Act officially decreed for the secularization of the missions of California. The act nationalized the missions, transferring the ownership from the Franciscan Order of the Catholic Church to the Mexican government. Following this act, a small community arose, which eventually incorporated as a city in 1866 after the American conquest of California. Growth remained relatively stable until the large Ventura oil field was drilled in 1919. The development of the oil fields through the 1920s, coupled with the building of better roads and the increased affordability of automobiles, enabled a major real estate boom to happen. Several of the city's most famous landmarks were built during this period, including the Ventura Theater, the First Baptist Church of Ventura, the Ventura Hotel, and the Mission Theater. One major factor that makes it preferable to walk rather than try and drive through the city is that Main Street is completely closed down to vehicular traffic. The Ventura City Council has unanimously agreed to keep Main Street free of vehicles. 5 blocks from Mission to First Street and 1 block south of California Street have been turned into a spacious promenade open to pedestrians and cyclists. This campaign has been dubbed as Main Street Moves, giving Ventura a unique feel to many other Californian cities. Because of this initiative, many businesses have expanded their service areas to the sidewalks immediately outside, allowing more room for dining and shopping and giving visitors a chance to support the downtown Ventura businesses. I really enjoyed being able to take the sidewalk or wander down the middle of the street to have our own space away from the crowds of people. As we casually strolled along the streets, we enjoyed checking out the many sights, which of course included several murals that tell the history of the area, but also shops and businesses featuring unique items and displays. All along the way, Ai-chan and I would stop off to complete a virtual, track down a traditional, or answer the question to an Adventure Lab stage. All told, we ended up spending a few hours within this small section of the city, just enjoying the nice California weather and getting to make finds all along the way as we delved into the history of Ventura. Knowing that our day would soon be coming to a close, we made the last jump from Ventura to Santa Barbara, the county seat of Santa Barbara County, with a population of about 89,000 people. Our first stop in the city, and the last with any daylight on our side, would be the Santa Barbara County Courthouse, designed in the Spanish colonial style and completed in 1929. A great spot to jump on to one of their free tours. And that is going to do it for our day. I am so glad that I sliced off only a little over 100 miles to do today along the coast of California, because we still ended up having to cut just as many targets as I thought we might this morning. All of the earth caches went off the schedule except for the ones that were immediately along the roadside, and we stuck to what we needed to qualify in the county and the page early on in the day. It wasn't until we got to Ventura that we felt we had enough time to be able to start moving into some of the more fun stuff on our target list. Aichan and I took the time to go ahead and park and walk down the downtown Ventura area, which turned out to be a great opportunity to complete some Adventure Lab stages, virtuals, and traditional geocaches, all while seeing the beautiful downtown area and that fantastic mural right when you get onto the closed portions of the streets. Tomorrow night, Aichan and I will be guest starring on the Geocache Talk podcast. It'll be at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go ahead and look in the description, the link is going to be there into the video. I hope that you guys will be able to join us on the Geocache Talk and delve a little bit deeper into this adventure that Aichan and I are having, finishing the remaining counties and pages in the country. Thank you for joining us today on this drive up California's coast. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.